Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Pep Talk on the Joe Maxwell Show. I am your host, Joe Maxwell. Today we will be discussing being a career woman versus being an entrepreneur. On set, I've got two wonderful, amazing ladies, and we are ready to chop this off. And I'm going to tell you why I call them boss ladies in a minute. But take a look at who they are. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Hi Abby, how are you? Thank you. It's an honor to have you here.
It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, my colleague, my co-podcaster. Thank you so much, Bimbola, for coming. You're looking amazing. I'm loving the yellow. You're giving me like some life, baby. Thank you guys for joining. I'm loving this, Abby.
Thank you.
Wow. I mean, each time I see this on Instagram, I'm like, can my wardrobe be filled with me? I just want, can I have tops, dresses, and everything? Just tell us a little bit about what Me is about.
Me is literally, I would say, my baby. It's literally my little business that I started, I'd say less than a year ago now. And, you know, thank God it's just gone probably even more than what I anticipated it to be. It's all about fashion and how we can incorporate our culture within fashion. And I feel like taking everyday pieces and infusing touches of our culture. My culture is Nigeria, and I feel like we need to celebrate our culture. I feel like being in England, sometimes we can lose some of what we have back home. So bringing a touch of that to everyday life, I feel, is important. And so I thought, why not start with...
That's amazing, because you know, your dresses or your tops can be in Zara, they can be in, like, you know, the high street shops. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done. So that kind of helps us to kind of move into our conversation easily, right? Because I know you guys have things that you do, Bimbola, you have, and you do podcasts, we podcast together. And I know that, you know, we call you like the investment lady, always constantly finding things to do. You're never tired. So I think this kind of helps us to get into our conversation easily in terms of, you know, is being a career woman the way forward, or being an entrepreneur? I mean, what are your thoughts without trying to kind of put things down your throat? If you were to vote, would you rather vote for being a career woman or being an entrepreneur? I'll start with you, Abby.
I feel like that's a tough question for me, to be honest. I feel, for myself personally, I appreciate my career, and I don't believe that if I didn't have my career, Omomi would have even been born, because you have to start from somewhere. You have to have some sort of, I'd say, a little bit of money to be able to start a business. So I feel like my career has allowed me to elevate to even think about doing a business. So personally for me, I would say that I'm on the fence about the two, but I'm probably more swayed towards being an entrepreneur.
Right, okay, because that's what we all want to be, right? That's the aspiration, right? Bimbola, what are your thoughts? Would you vote for?
So it's funny, because back in the days when I started my career, I was very much on the go. I wanted to be a career woman. I was, you know, as soon as I was a year in a position, I was ready to get promotion and stuff. You know, so I was flying high. Then I kind of got to a point where I thought, okay, well, I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm moving up the ranks, but is that really what I want to do? And over the years, I've kind of swayed from being a career woman to more of a woman entrepreneur. But I do agree what you're saying about having a 9-to-5 is very paramount. Like, you know, you hear a lot of people talk about, I want to do my own business, I want to start my own business, but they don't have the money to start. I mean, if you don't have the money, that's your first killer right there. So there's a place for the career, I guess, but I'm definitely an entrepreneur.
You're definitely an entrepreneur.
All up for entrepreneur.
You're all up for it, like, yes, baby, let's just be the entrepreneur, ladies. Okay, great. So given this, it kind of feels like both of you kind of sit on the fence, right? But like, what I can hear is you both have, you know, what we call the side hustles, you know, kind of have things going on the side. And I appreciate the fact that, we do need to kind of keep the career going to be able to pay for these other things. So how would you say, or actually, let me flip this a little bit. So what would you say the advantages are for being an entrepreneur?
For myself, I feel that with my line of work, I'm in the medical field every day. So that's my day-to-day work. My business side of things allows me to be more creative. I feel like it's an outlet for me. And I can kind of just put my own hand to it. If I make a mess, I fix it. You know, if it's successful, it's amazing because
you can push it as far as you want to push it. How about you, Bimbola?
Well, the advantage, so I look at it as having a career, having a 9-to-5. So actually there are two things, like, you know, when we talk about career, we're talking about, you know, you're up there in your career as opposed to the 9-to-5. But I'm going to stick to the 9-to-5 aspect of it.
So the question is, what's the benefit of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Okay. So your 9-to-5 can only take you so far. I'm very much into financial independence, and I feel like being an entrepreneur is what gives you that financial independence.
Absolutely.
I don't believe a 9-to-5 gives anyone financial independence, even people that have been making millions of pounds. Because again, you're in control of it. The 9-to-5 will come to an end at some point. You know, you're being told what to do, when to come, when not to come. As being an entrepreneur, you're very much in control, and I love that. I love that control. I love the independence that it gives me financially.
Right, that's interesting, because yesterday I was actually reading up on Forbes magazine, and article 20 was about women entrepreneurs, and they made lots of references to how women have been doing a lot more business. You know, it's like women are doing a lot more business 20 times faster than men, and we've been seen to be growing lots of small businesses, micro businesses, like for example, you don't have like up to 5 staff. So we have been seen to be creating lots of jobs. We've been seen to be doing a lot more than the guys, and isn't that interesting? Because I think back in the day, you know, we're used to being the ones that will be at home while the men go out, and we'll be at home looking at. But it's interesting how things are flipped. And I think the article also said something about by 2018, women will be seen to be creating more than half of 9.7 billion pounds into the economy, just based on the work that we are creating. Because if you, as a startup, if you start a job, you probably need somebody who's going to help you do this or do that. So in that way, we're creating. I think that's an amazing thing. So in terms of your Omami, how do you sort of handle sort of logistics, and are you sort of at the moment a one-man band and you kind of do everything yourself? How does that play?
At the moment, I would say that it's kind of a 1.5-man band. My husband helps me a lot with the logistics, because I know for myself, I'm very creative, I'm very visual, but when it comes to the whole planning side of things, I could do with a helping hand, and he's fantastic with that. So he helps me a lot with the planning and sort of knowing how to put things in order.
Right. So Bimbola, how do you, because I know we podcast, at least that we know, how do you sort of manage your life being a career woman at the moment? You've got kids, you've got family, and how do you sort of manage being able to do all of these side things?
Well, first thing that I have to say is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. I'm constantly tired.
Just like the lingo.
All day, every day, I'm tired. But I think the one thing that does drive me, and the one thing that helps, is the passion behind it. It's knowing that, okay, I really enjoy doing this. Even when I'm tired, I'm dragging myself, and you know, so that's my main thing. And obviously, in terms of support, I've got my husband that supports me. I've got my co-host that supports. I've got support all around me, and it's really, I mean, for my line of business in terms of the podcasting, being able to go on the internet is like a big deal. If I don't have internet, that's my biggest support, actually.
It's like, we need social media, baby. Can we have some social media here?
Yeah, so social media, but you know, the internet is like my biggest support right there. But in terms of, you know, manpower, so my husband, my co-host.
Okay, that's not bad. So I guess the next thing we have to think about here is, there is this myth, and I think it's a myth, right? And I'm not sure, I don't have facts, and I'm saying I don't have facts because I've actually checked online to kind of see what are the facts. So there are, you know, myths around. Some people just can't cope with being a career woman, and there's some people just can't start a business. So it's like, okay, so you trying to say to me that I can't handle being a 9-to-5 career woman and be successful doing it? At the same time, I actually can't say. It's like, what are your thoughts around that area? So maybe we should start with people that struggle with starting up a business. What do you think is or are the reasons why people genuinely struggle?
100% it's fear. I feel it's, once you get past fear, you can do anything. I think fear is your biggest enemy, and once that's out of the way, you'll find your means to get to where you want to be. I think people put a lot of they put a lot of emphasis on the no's instead of focusing on where they want to be. If you know what your passion is, you will always go for it.
That's a very, I mean, that's a very solid answer. I mean, that's wisdom right there, because I think a lot of people, we're scared to sort of get into it. And I think the moment that goes away, like you said, we will definitely. Bimbola, what are your thoughts? Why do you think? So we're going to flip it a little bit and talk about the career, because we still find ourselves as Black women in the career in the career industries, and we kind of feel like we cannot move past where we are. What are the reasons? Why do you think we have this issue?
So I think the biggest one for the career bit is, I think especially if you're a mother. I mean, obviously I don't want to generalize that every woman is a mother, but for most that are mothers, the biggest issue is being a mother, because you're conflicted between spending time with your children and having to be at work at a certain time and compete with the people that you work with. So I think that's one of the biggest things for women generally in the workplace. You find that when even women that are into their careers, when they have kids, they kind of slow down.
Yeah.
And it's literally pretty much slowing down their career progression.
Pretty much,
and then once you're at that point, sometimes you don't ever go back. So I think being a mother is a big one.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I mean, based on my own personal experience, I don't know what else stops people from.
So how can we be on top of our game in whatever we're doing? So whether or not I want to be a business person, or whether or not I want to be, how can we be on top of our game? What are the qualities that we need to thrive?
I want to say something actually to the question that you asked Abby, because I think that's also key about what stops being a woman entrepreneur. She said fear. One thing that I do want to say is it's the goals that people set themselves. If anyone wants to go into business and be very successful, which is exactly why we go into business. But at the end of the day, you have to celebrate your small wins. You have to, you have to think of yourself. I'm going to start from this point, and I'm going to set myself this small target. And then once you move past that small target, then you can move on to the next target.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you go in thinking,
it's like little milestones, right? You've got to have milestones.
Yeah. So once you've gone past the fear, you then start, and then you celebrate your small wins, and then hopefully then you keep pushing the bar, and then before you know you're
there. So over to you, Abby. How do you think we can achieve? So how do you? I guess you can sort of make it very relatable to how do you achieve being on top of your game right now? Because I know you're doing very well in both areas, but Phil, being a career woman and being a businesswoman, how do you maintain that quality? Because you do have it, I do see it on a regular basis.
What I would say for myself personally is that I focus on my work when I'm at work, and I set time aside, and I try not to even compromise on that time for my business. I think once you do that and you compromise, then you'll always kind of take away from whichever one you don't feel is as important. But if you are structured in the way that you think and the way that you and what you want from it. I know what I want from my business, and I think that is one of the most important driving forces behind how I'm able to manage my time and put things into perspective.
Okay, I mean that's good. So I think what I can hear from what you guys are saying is, in order to stay on top of our games, you need to create time. Fear is number one thing. We need to make sure anything we want to do, we take fear is completely out of the window. Otherwise, we can't do much. Second thing Bimbola talked about is creating little milestones. You've got to know this is where I need to get to, but in order to be able to get there, I need to create little milestones. And then the final thing that you said, you've got to create time. Everything that we want to sort of thrive in, we've got to create time. You've got to spend time with the children. You want the children to do great, you've got to spend time with it. You've got a business that you're birthing, you've got to spend time with. And I think one thing that I actually need to talk about is about, I think Bimbola talked about it, and I think I asked both of you, were like your husbands do. But there are times where there's certain things that you want to do that the husbands cannot do. How then do you sort of create resources to cater for that, if that makes sense? So where you're starting a business and your husband's probably busy and all of that, this is bigger than both of you. How do you then sort of create that? Just quickly.
I have amazing family and friends.
Brilliant. So you do have that network,
Definitely.
that good support.
Without them, I don't think that Omami will be where it is today. The support behind you means a lot.
Brilliant. I know you did mention, Bimbola, about your co-host here being supportive, but apart from you, but I'm sure the time when you've called your co-host and she's not been available, are there sort of other resources that you find around?
The word is outsourcing.
Brilliant.
There's only so much you can do as a person. You've got to know what your strengths are, and you've got to outsource the rest to other people. Otherwise, you just be going around in circles. You probably just lose motivation. And all. Do you know what, girls? We can be here talking about this forever, but just conscious of time, and we've got something else to talk about. Let's just hold the thoughts.
Right. So thank you guys for listening. We will be back, and when we come back, we'll be talking about marriages. We'll be talking about marriages. Just hold on and don't go. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. On this segment, we'll be discussing the necessity of marriage. There's an increasing number of young professional women, especially within the African culture, who are averse to marriage. Now, I'm not sure why this is the case, but we're about to find out. So, ladies, what are our thoughts? What do we think? Why are we having this problem? Because I personally feel in my days, marriage was it was non-negotiable. Right? But it feels, it's like, you're done, but before you're done your third year, they're reminding you, by 25, you have to make sure. But it feels like there's, a lot of young girls that I talk to now, they keep asking me, what's the point of getting married? Why do we think? Why is this the case?
I think personally, it's role models. I think when you don't see anybody who is in a positive relationship or in a positive marriage, then what do you have to look forward to? You watch television, you don't really see marriage celebrated. You see the rise of women just doing their own thing, men doing their own thing. Where is the positive outlook on marriage? I feel like that's a major key in why young people especially think that way.
What are your thoughts, Bimbola?
I think nowadays there's this it's now acceptable to live in together with your partner before you get married. Everybody does it now. It's almost, so it's like you have that, I call it the false marriage, because that's what it is. So if you get into that false marriage, then what is the difference between the actual marriage? Because you're already doing everything married people do. So like, what's the point? And because you don't have enough good role models around you, because the divorce rates are quite high. It's like why fix was broken.
What's not broken, right? Why fix what's not broken?
Exactly. So I think that's what it is.
And it also goes down to people's beliefs about what do you actually perceive marriage to be. Do you have that mindset of, when I'm in a marriage, I'm committed to this one person for the rest of my life? Do you think that's what scares people? Because sometimes I think that could be. I mean,
that's a valid point. People just think, oh, right, that's it. One woman for the rest of my life. Shit, am I really ready for that?
I think it's only guys that have those issues.
Yeah, we are.
I'm yet to find the girl. Really?
I'd say women do as well. I think women, am I marrying the right person? All those questions come into play because, and especially with today's society, with women, we're a lot more go-getters, I would say, more than our parents' generations. We're very much about, I want to succeed for myself, not just or rely on someone to take over. So I think that's a major aspect of why women are very much more, maybe a little bit more.
And I think that's a valid point you just raised here, because I think in recent times you find like 21, 22-year-old girls that are doing amazingly well. Whether or not they're bloggers, whether or not they're, whatever it is they're doing, they're just doing exceedingly well. If you think we're doing well, they're doing fantastic. At 21, they have businesses, they have things going on for them. And that's just echoing what Bimbola says. Why even try to bring more pressure, more stress to my life if I can kind of do things myself? So it's not a good thing, I'd say. But I think that should sort of take me to, we need to understand what is the importance of marriage. I think that's a good thing too, because I think we want our listeners to, our viewers to actually hear us and get something out of it. What's the value? What's the importance of marriage? Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Right. And what happens when that love is out of the window? Now, let's just are you still in love? I'm still in love. Well, you better be sure you're still in love. You're still in love. Right. So over to you, Abby. What's the importance of marriage?
I feel like, as Bimbo said as well, you do fall in love. You meet somebody and you think, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I think it's also allowing yourself to understand that there is no such thing as, this ideology of what marriage is supposed to be. You make your marriage the way you want it to be. So if you want it to work, you've got to work at it. Marriage is not a, relax, life is good now. You've got to work at what you want to make and how well you want your marriage to be. So for me, I think marriage is awesome. I would advocate it. I would tell you that 2 heads are always better than one. When one person is down, the other person is up. Come on, everything.
But is that really true though? That 2 heads are better than one?
You have to be married to the right person for that to apply.
Yes,
because I think also I guess another reason why people want to fall away from marriage or adverse to marriage is if you're not with the right person, or the person is a drainer. Imagine the 20-something-year-old lady that she, boss lady, she's got everything going, and then she meets this guy that becomes
a dream killer,
and now they still have that problem.
Yes.
So it's finding the right person. Marriage is beautiful when you found the right person. When you found the wrong person, it is hell on earth.
Right. So that's true. I mean, that's true. So how do we? Because you said earlier, Abby, that it's because there aren't good examples out there for people, the younger generations to sort of look and you find these young generations when they comment on people, they go, oh, marriage goals, and you're looking at a lot of things that we see. It's not exactly how it is behind the doors. You and I know we kind of paint the marriage the way we want to paint it, and so therefore sometimes it almost feels like, are we trying to create a wrong image? Now, how then can we handle the increasing number of divorce, or what people say? How can we encourage or promote marriage is a good thing?
It goes back to what Bimbo said, because it is about finding the right person. It's finding the right person that you're ready to turn around and say, do you know what? Come what may, I'm going to still go for it. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to stick at this. Because a lot of today's society is, if I don't like it, I'm going to dump it. Marriage isn't like that, and people are scared of that commitment. But when you find that right person to do life with, you're not going to think, oh, I can do away with this. You're going to think, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to continue to make sure that our journey is beautiful? And it's a learning progress. Don't ever think you're going to know everything in your marriage. It's something you're always going to keep learning.
You learn every day. Now, so I've got a question for you ladies. Now, the question is, and for our viewers as well, do you think that being a single woman makes you less of a woman? You've got to think about it, right? Because as Africans, we do get the my mother's saying I have to get married. There's pressure everywhere. Do you feel less of a woman just because you're single?
I think.
Got to think about it.
No, I think if I'm being truthful, I think we're being truthful because of the African culture, because of the background, the culture that we're raised in. You do actually. If I wasn't married, I would feel less of a woman, because for me, I'm thinking, hey, how come nobody wants me? Because literally that's what it is. How come no one wants me? But of course, that's because that's how we've been brought up, So I would say I would feel less of a woman.
How about you, Abby?
I wouldn't say that I would feel less of a woman. I would say that maybe one of the goals that I wanted to achieve are not quite where they should be. But I don't think I would ever feel less of a woman by not being
Why
married.
wouldn't you feel that way though?
Because I'm not in control of my own time. I believe I'm a strong Christian, and I like to believe that God's plans for my life are somewhat better than whatever plans that I have. So if I'm not yet married, then it's about me sort of thinking, okay, maybe God's trying to do something in me before I meet this person. Otherwise, maybe I'm not quite ready for it.
I think I'm going to ask you a question. Did you grow up, your formative years, was that in this country?
I was born and bred here.
Exactly. I think that's the difference. I was born here, but my formative years was in Nigeria. Now in Nigeria, you're surrounded by marriages and marriages and marriages. In the UK, it's fine.
It's different.
So I think that's what it is, because I don't necessarily believe that I'm going to be less of a woman. I don't think that's my belief. I'm saying that I would feel that way because of how I grew up. And I think that's the big difference.
Whereas in England, you see your friends, you see people who are doing well.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So in saying this, we're just going to round up. Should marriage be a priority for men? Because we're thinking it's an increasing number of girls saying, I don't think marriage is for me. I don't think marriage is for me. So what are we saying to them? Should marriage be a priority? So you've got to have goals. You've got things that you want to achieve by the time you're 30. So what are we saying? Are we saying that marriage should be one of those goals that you need to achieve?
I believe it should be if it's what you want. I believe if you want to be married, then yes, it should be one of your goals because it's an amazing goal to achieve. But would I say it's the be all and end all to what makes a woman? No, I wouldn't. But I would definitely say that if you want to get married, then you should work towards making yourself ready for that marriage, you know?
Making yourself ready for that marriage is so key. I think you've just said the right thing. Whilst you're waiting, how about you get yourself ready?
I'd say to all like the younger girls that sort of talk to me about it, do not prepare yourself. If you don't know how to cook, go and learn. If you don't know how to, I don't know, use a washing machine, for instance, go and learn, because there's so many things you can do whilst you're in waiting, because when it happens, you don't want to be scared or be like overwhelmed by it. So
you don't want to be calling me up and go, "Mommy, how do I do this?" Well,
maybe that's why people are scared of marriages, because the two things you said, it sounds like work to the average.
But actually,
cooking. You know,
but if you were on your own, you'd have to cook, you'd have to wash your laundry anyway, right?
But okay, you're cooking for yourself, and you don't have to eat anything that you don't want to, or you can't be bothered to cook.
Right.
Now, if you're married, there's an expectation that you have to cook for somebody else. That somebody else is expecting you to cook. Maybe I'm just thinking maybe that's one of the reasons why. Because again, we tell the younger ones, go learn how to cook in the waiting period. Learn how to take care of yourself, which is something that you should do anyways.
Yeah.
But these girls nowadays,
they have that high life.
They don't want to be doing that.
They definitely don't. Just so
I want to answer that question about priority.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to answer from a religious point of view. So I'm a Christian, and if I want to have a child, I want to bring a child into this world, then marriage will become a priority, because I don't believe in. Obviously, people have reasons for being single parents, which is out of their control. But I don't necessarily believe that you should. I don't think it's good for the child not to have both parents. So in order for you to have a child, then you need a man and a woman. You know, you need to be able to have that as a priority.
Yeah. I wouldn't say you need it, but you definitely, to give your child the best start in life, it is definitely the most ideal.
Because you can't say you need it, because you know some children do have fathers or both parents, and then what happens when they know more?
It's a need. So it's needed. It might not be what you get, because, like I said, it may be out of your control. But I don't think now, knowing what I know now as a parent, I won't want to have a child outside of both parents.
Yeah,
it's not. It's
ideal.
Definitely.
Right, guys. Yeah, we can keep talking forever. It's like it is a good topic. Yeah, and I think it's one that's. It's a thing that lots of these young girls are saying now. Whenever I get my cousins, my nieces, they're like, "Oh, auntie, this marriage and everything." I'm just like, it's not as bad as you guys say. I don't know who is influencing their thoughts, but it's like they keep asking, "What is my?" I think maybe. Okay, so I guess that's who. Yeah, those are the role models, right? Yeah. People that married 72 days and then break up and then move on to the next one and all of that. Yeah. So I think it's important that it's our responsibility right now to let them know and understand that marriage isn't as bad as you think. And honestly, guys, marriage isn't as bad as you think. Yes, you do have the days where you just really want to throw the other half out of the window, but it's not. It's a one-off. You don't get that all the time. Marriage it's a beautiful thing. I was actually going to ask another question, but I think I'm just going to have to pack on there. And that's been amazing. Thank you, guys. Now, there's one more thing that we're gonna do that we normally do as part of the show, and we normally want to know what your pet peeves are. And the pet peeves, you guys know, if you don't already know, are the things that our guests do not like. So when you bump into Bimbola tomorrow, or you bump into Abby, you know not to do these things. Bimbola. Tell me. I think I know what yours is, but I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna let you tell us, and tell us why.
I cannot stand untidy girls.
Untidy girls or untidiness?
Well, untidiness, but especially untidy girls. And I'll tell you why. So I can't stand when I see a girl all made up, looking all glam like I'm looking, and then go to their space and it's all a big mess. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, you put yourself together.
Yeah, you can put yourself together. At least put your house together. Put everything else together.
So you're one of those OCD ones, constantly mopping and cleaning and dusting and. I wonder how your husband copes with you. Right, okay, so we know when we come to your house, we behave ourselves, right? Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. Right, over to you, Abby. What are your pet peeves? Or what is your pet peeves?
That's a tough one. I quite like that one, actually. My one probably would be if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it.
Procrastination
or lack of order, that just drives me up the wall. Because I'm someone, if I say I'm going to do something, then 9.5 times out of 10 I'm doing it.
Yeah, so definitely you don't want people that procrastinate to be associated with you, like dream killers. Can you move?
Because when you've got a goal, you want to see it to fruition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's good. So guys, you know, when you do meet or you have to work with Abby, you better know that you're coming correct. Right. And when you visit Bimbola in her lovely mansion, you better make sure. Actually, I was going to say, when you see Bimbola, when you go to Bimbola, you better make sure you're keeping things together, right? Okay, thank you so much, guys. It's been amazing having you girls on set. I had such a wonderful time, and I hope you guys did too. Thank you so much for all the words of wisdom. Hopefully our viewers and listeners, they've been able to pick one or two things. So right, guys, we've talked about two things today. The first was about, you know, whether or not you want to be a career woman or being a woman and entrepreneur. Let us know what you think. Give us a comment. Let us know if you'd rather be an entrepreneur or a career woman and why. And in the second segment, we talked about the necessity of marriage. Do you believe in marriage? Yes or no? Let us know. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you do support marriage, leave your comments and tell us why. And if you don't, let us know why. Until next time, I am your host, Joe Maxwell from the Joe Maxwell Show.